Just got it on my watch.
Okay, if everything went okay, we should be live. So
Just got it on my watch.
All right. I'll see if we get a notification, and I'll make sure we actually have sound. Okay, if everything went okay, we should be live. I hear me. You guys, say good morning so the YouTube can say if they hear you guys.
Good morning, everyone.
Bonjour, good afternoon from Europe.
Good morning, good afternoon from the Middle East.
All right, we've got a few people in the YouTube chat. You guys let us know yay or nay on the audio. Is my audio fine? And is the guest audio fine? Can you hear everybody that's not me? Because they're on a separate audio stream from me, and we have had issues with the stream before where they could hear me, but not you guys, or vice versa. They could hear all you guys, but they couldn't hear me.
Pulse audio.
Pulse audio, right.
Pulse
I could talk.
Right.
I'm on Pipewire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, everything good on the audio? Yay.
I think it should be okay.
Okay, everybody seems to think it's okay. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about audio issues on Linux pretty much every time we do one of these.
Yeah.
And that's still
like the issue with Discord and sharing audio via
I think the problem with the audio issues on Linux is we've never had a good base. Like even before ALSA, we had the Open Sound Server, OSS, whatever the heck that thing was, years and years ago. That was garbage. Then ALSA was garbage. And then we're going to build the next thing, but we're going to keep some of the ALSA stuff around to build Pulse. Pulse is garbage. Well, we'll make Pipewire, but it'll be based on Pulse, which is based on ALSA. It's like, can we just scrap the whole thing and do whatever the hell Mac is doing? You know?
Yeah. Somebody pointed out a tool this morning called SoundDucks that they're using to pipe audio to Discord. But all of this is a hack upon a hack upon a hack upon a hack upon a hack.
It's a million hacks to make sound work on Linux. That's all it is, and nobody understands how it all works. I mean, the Red Hat guys and all these people working on Pipewire, do they even know what half the code? There's so many people that have contributed to this thing by now, going back decades.
Just like in your review of Zero Linux, and thanks for that, by the way. But like in your review, you missed something very important, but it's okay. We didn't discuss it prior. But you forgot to select an audio driver because I give the option to the user to select between Pipewire and Pulse.
Yeah, I never do.
I think I'm the only distro who offers the choice.
Yeah, that's neat. The reason I didn't do that on video is actually I never enable audio in my VMs.
Yeah.
Because
it's only a VM where it's not going to be.
Well, no, it's not that. It sometimes will actually cause problems on my recordings, where for whatever reason the host machine and the virtual machine, they're both trying to use the same audio driver.
Yes,
Pulse.
That happens on VBox.
Pulse is so I always, even if they have a audio, I mean most are going to have audio server installed and enabled by default. I actually turn it off in my VM settings. I disable the audio.
I mentioned that because I wanted to go back to the issue with Pulse and Pipewire. Even if the user selected, I discovered that recently, that even if the user selected Pipewire from Calamares to use it, because of the Bluetooth options that will get installed with the system, some Pulse features will be installed alongside of Pipewire. So the system will always be confused which one to use. So there is no pure Pipewire or pure Pulse. It's all mixed and tangled together to make a mess.
Well, it's like these people I see, on forums and Reddit and places. Hey, can I just uninstall all of Xorg since I installed Wayland? Well, that's not going to work. But it's like they don't realize how much stuff. I mean, technically, people want to say Wayland works. Well, no, Wayland works for about 10% of the things, and then you still have Xorg for the other 90% of things that Wayland can't do yet. So
God bless you for saying exactly what the problem is.
Yeah.
With Wayland, for example, people tell me, "Oh, I got Wayland up and running. I'm cool." Open up all your Electron apps. I dare you.
Yeah.
Nothing
Or hey,
works.
why don't people have been trolling me since I started the channel, a little over 4 years ago. Hey, why don't you just use Wayland? Use a Wayland compositor for your window manager and do strictly Wayland, do Wayland videos. I was like, how am I going to do Wayland videos? Wayland can't even capture my desktop. What the hell? Like, I can't do OBS like what we're doing here. Like, there's so many things that I would run into trouble with, like basic things. I think a lot of computer users have such basic needs. All they do is open up a web browser and browse Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And Wayland works perfect for that, right? But they don't realize there's so much stuff, especially regarding video,
but
that a lot of people have specialized needs that are just going to run into terrible problems.
I can say I'm blessed because I cannot even log in to Wayland, so I'm blessed.
What is that? A hardware issue?
NVIDIA.
Yeah, I figured. I've got an AMD. I got an AMD card on my workstation here at the office, so I can kind of play with Wayland a little bit. My home computer is NVIDIA. I don't think I have anything Wayland related installed on that thing yet.
Well, it's good because I have Zero Linux. By default uses Wayland because I enabled Wayland. It automatically sets it by default. I don't know why SDDM does that, but it sets it for by default. A lot of people come back to me, "Hey, I can't log in." Well, if you look at the upper left corner, you would notice why.
Yeah, because in SDDM, it's usually used with Plasma, and Plasma and GNOME are going Wayland by default these days. And
I would understand GNOME because GNOME does it way better than Plasma does.
Yeah.
But Plasma still have long way to go.
Yeah, but I mean that's because GNOME is tied to Wayland and Pipewire and System D. It's all Red Hat. Right? I mean they're all working on basically the same things.
Speaking about Red Hat, have you ever used the XFS file system or looked into it?
I have installed distributions in the past that used it by default. But it's not something I could really speak about as far as the technical merits. I know it's still used by a lot of people for stability reasons. Like a lot of people, not desktop users, but people in the server space, a lot of them still like XFS.
Yes, and I'll be using it by default in Zero Linux come summer release. I'll make it short, but the XFS is made by Silicon Graphics. Mm-hmm. And it's very stable. It's so stable that it doesn't its backup and restore applications haven't been updated because it never fails. It almost never fails.
Yeah, XFS has been around forever. I mean, when I first installed Ubuntu 15 years ago, they were already using Extend 4 as their default file system.
Yeah.
So even then, XFS had kind of fallen out of favor. So that's how old XFS is. Like, it's been around for...
This is something I don't understand, for example.
20-something years, yeah.
XFS, for CPU usage, if you want to copy large files over network or locally, CPU usage is 20 to 25% less than ext4. Mm-hmm. So I encourage other distros to go back to XFS, at least for now, until ButterFS gets better. Without giving the option.
ButterFS is probably the future. Well, I mean, that's where everybody wants to get to at some point. Except for Ubuntu, oddly enough, they want to go with ZFS.
Yeah, ZFS is just as good as XFS, but ButterFS is not very stable. I can show you an instance that happened like 4 days ago.
I believe you. I won't use it either because I've heard of horror stories.
Corruption. Server corruption. So, yeah, it's not yet. It is a good file system, don't get me wrong, but it still needs... it's very, as my friend told me, it's very experimental still.
Yeah, it was one of those things where Linux needed a better file system and we couldn't use ZFS because of the licensing issues. And then, ButterFS came about. And then finally, the lawyers that work with Canonical said, you know what? I think you'd be okay if you use ZFS. So then Ubuntu started using ZFS by default, or at least enabling it in their installer. Yeah. And now everybody could use ZFS, but they won't because they've already spent all this time working on ButterFS. So.
Yeah. ButterFS is, a lot of people are switching to it by default, which I recommend not to. Keep it as an option, but don't make it the default yet.
Yeah, I know SUSE likes ButterFS by default. Does Fedora do ButterFS by default too?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. No, but Fedora Enterprise uses XFS.
Well, yeah, I would expect that, yeah.
So I'm switching to XFS by default, but the user can still select whatever they want. So Zero Linux is all about the options.
But aren't we all on X4?
Yeah, we are.
Basically.
Yeah.
Because everything else is like voodoo.
Yeah.
Not really.
Not voodoo, but yeah.
Not really. Like he's talking about XFS, it basically installs the same. It's like you change one command in the Arch install. ButterFS, it's not hard to install either, but you got to set up a few different partitions. ZFS I've never tried on Arch, so I don't know what you...
I read a couple of articles about how ButterFS tends to cause problems with certain devices and hardware, and Arco Linux and Arch Linux especially. So I've heard horror stories, so I'm still kind of trying. I don't know. I'm afraid to switch, I'd say.
Yeah, I am too, because for me, I don't need like the features that something like ButterFS would offer, like the snapshots and things like that, because I back up my data anyway. Like all of my important data, most of it is either in the cloud, or the stuff I don't want to put in the cloud, I have physical media, got external hard drives and disks and things like that I'll put really important stuff on. So if my computer just caught fire and burned up, I'm good. Right? But a lot of people think their file system is going to save them. Well, it'll save you from some things, but what happens when somebody steals your computer? Then your file system didn't really help you with those backups. So.
It's like the case with Windows users. They like to laptop users using Windows. They split their single drive into two partitions. I go tell them if the hard drive physically fails, it doesn't matter how many partitions you have, they're all gone.
I heard that ButterFS is okay as long as you don't use RAID. If you're just using it as a standard desktop, it's fine. Yeah. When you get into RAID, it starts to have issues.
And the fact that it uses a lot of CPU, and I tested file transfers, a lot of files, like 400 gigabytes worth. It keeps speeding up, slowing down, and using up to 30-40% of the CPU process. And then I used XFS. 6 to 7% for the same file transfer, and it was constant. It was not going up and down in speed either, so it's very stable.
Speaking of file transfers, as somebody that here in the last month have done some massive file transfers between various servers and local machines and things like that, can we talk about how slow the copy command CP is compared to rsync? And why is that the case? And why is rsync so much faster at copying files than pretty much any other like core utility that can copy files?
That's why TimeShift uses rsync by default.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy how much speed you gain by using rsync. And SSH, if you're copying over SSH, definitely use rsync.
There's a command line utility called LMS. Luminous Synchronize, a fast and reliable multi-threaded alternative to rsync for synchronizing local files. So I've been using that to copy across the network, and it is much faster and much more reliable than using the copy from my KDE desktop.
And I'm going to link to that for the YouTube chat. I'm going to post a link to Luminous
Synchronize, LMS.
Yeah.
As I may also recommend, as for transferring loads of just backup data and stuff that's not too critical, rclone is kind of the Swiss Army knife for various proprietary cloud services and stuff. So if you need, in classic IT, if you need to do that, I can also recommend that as an alternative to rsync.
Luminous has 3 options: CP multi-threaded direct copy, RM multi-threaded direct remove, and sync multi-threaded direct as well.
Oh, it would have to be in the AUR. I could check real quick because I've got the AUR bookmarked here on my homepage. I go to it all the time.
Don't we all? I keep building packages for my repository every day.
Yeah, Luminous has 2 packages, Luminous and Luminous-bin.
Yeah, the bin is the binary, so it's faster to build.
Yeah, it is much faster and much more reliable than the copy command that I've used. I use it when anything that gets to 100 megabytes or something. I use LMS.
So we can going back to Derek's earlier video, the aliases video, we can alias the CP to Luminous.
Yeah. And that's what I was getting at. I was like, why are we even using the copy command? Because it seems so inferior.
Pipe it into an alias.
Yeah.
or trick users to use copy, but in reality it's using Luminous command.
It's related to alias. Has anyone used hash command, the built-in hash, HASH?
The hash calculator?
No, it's a hash command. It's built in. It's the same idea as alias, but for your path environment variables. If you want to, you're in the command line and you want to run something from the path environment, but it's not in it, you can create a hash where it will run it from memory before it looks up in your path. So when you execute a command from your path like ls, it will create a hash entry in RAM. So the second time you do ls, it will search that hash before it goes out to the path. So you can speed up your processing. But you can manually add your own commands to that hash. So you can put stuff in front of it without altering the path environment variable. For your local execution, you can have your own path in front of it and do it. So it works out pretty good.
I do it via regular aliases. Like if I want to build my ISO, I just run xliso. Xliso is the flagship, so it just builds. It basically goes to the directory where the script is and executes the script.
Yeah, but if you had a third-party app that was going out to the path and you wanted to temporarily override it, say to a test application, you could use that in the command line and specify an alternative for the.
Yeah, it's a quicker way. I will look that up. But yeah, on a daily basis, I build like tens of ISOs just to keep testing. It's a nightmare, and I want to automate everything. I want to find a way to automate everything. I'm not a developer, so it will take me a long time. That's why I'm taking the break.
Yeah, I'm not a developer either, and I get so many like emails and messages, on the internet, people asking me about what they should do at their system administration job or whatever they're doing. I was like, hey, dude,
you get those on your break as well, don't you?
Yeah, I was like, I'm a YouTuber. I'm not.
Yeah, but when you announce to the world that you're taking a break, you still receive emails like that, even though you already announced that you're on a break.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny that there's this, everybody stereotypes other people, and when somebody says I use Linux, you immediately think they're a nerd, right? They're in IT, they're a programmer. We still have this misconception. Well, not us, but many people.
Well, speaking of nerds, I want to show you something. Where's the chat? Yeah, I want to paste an image. Check it out. It doesn't allow links in the chat?
Not in the YouTube chat unless I make you a mod. Post something that's not a link, and I'll make you a moderator in the YouTube chat.
No, I am in Jitsi.
Oh, in Jitsi? No. Let me see.
You should be able to.
Yeah, Jitsi shouldn't care.
Copy image address. Sorry, my bad. It's an image on. Yeah, open it. I sent the link.
No, it's gonna. Okay.
Check what it says. Just what it says on the Calamares installer. Speaking of nerds.
Let me see if I can zoom in, because I can't try to find a way to show this with the YouTube chat here. Oh, welcome, fellow Linux nerds. All right. Yeah.
That's coming in a few days.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of nerds, I felt like showing what I just did.
So Derek, your 22,000 entry Emacs org mode webpage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of the browser called Nyxt? NYXT.
Yeah, I did a video about it 3 or 4 months ago. Briefly talked about it. I haven't played that much with it lately.
It took between 5 and 15 minutes to compile with Nyxt on my system. I left after 5 minutes and came back after 15. And it was done.
I compiled it too, because I don't think there might have been a binary package on Arch, but I think I ended up compiling the thing.
Yeah, it's not a binary on Nyxt. But the thing is, they don't use tabs; they use buffers. So I was wondering how your app would render in that. But anyway,
I'm not sure. I could.
It's
I
highly
could check
configurable. It uses common Lisp, but not eLisp. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Let me open up.
It's out of my league. I'm not an Emacs person.
The one problem with Nyxt is, even though they offer, you could either use the traditional Emacs bindings or Vim bindings. I've noticed that the Vim bindings aren't very good. There's some issues with them.
With Nyxt? With NYXT, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the only thing that kind of bugs me is, I ran into issues, so I switched to the default Emacs bindings using it. And I don't like that. I don't like hitting the control key all the damn time.
You said, no, it's going to take 10 minutes to install. Well, ever since I never clicked that button. I added the button, but never clicked it because of your warnings that it's going to take long. But then I decided to bite the bullet and click the button.
But the YouTube chat, and it's freeze.
Also, you're lagging a little bit, and those are cheats he showed you as average medium connection.
Yeah, I've got a green in OBS. I can't do nothing about the internet here, unfortunately. Usually, the internet here at the office is usually very good. Let's see. The chat is not frozen, though.
Yeah, it looks frozen on my end as well. Unless there's no people posting.
Oh, you're talking about the stream is frozen.
No, not the stream, the chat.
Yeah, I see it moving just fine. Let me post something.
Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah, it moved. Okay, so people were not posting.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have that many people watching. There's only,
37.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very tiny number. So you're not going to have the chat moving.
Posting. So I just had a power outage. Just a sec. I need to turn off the AC. Yeah, we're in Lebanon. We don't have regular electricity. We only get 4 hours of electricity from the government, and then the rest is generators. And the generators are not being so forthcoming with electricity.
Where are you?
Lebanon.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah, economic crisis, devaluation of the currency, you name it.
Yeah,
that was weird. I guess people are posting now in the chat. They said it was frozen. I have no idea. It had nothing to do with anything I did.
No, it must be from YouTube thing.
Yeah, because I didn't do anything to correct it either. They're like, oh, it's back. Okay. OBS said we were streaming the whole time, and it had a green light, meaning, hey, your network connection's good. So it probably is YouTube servers. How many
drop frames do you have in OBS?
Let me check.
Because we stream from church to Facebook, and sometimes it says 0 drop frames, but when we re-download the stream, we notice there's hundreds of drop frames.
Yeah, well, I've got thousands, probably from those few minutes where we were dropping every frame.
Yeah, this is what you should keep an eye on. I love OBS. OBS is the best tool to stream with.
Yeah. I don't stream that often, and it's not that big of a deal for this here.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
Mainly, I'm here to chat with you guys. I just stream it to YouTube. Just why not? You know, it's not normal content.
What's the other one you use in alternative to YouTube? You have a second one that's public
Odyssey.
domain. Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You still use it? Where do they get?
Yeah.
Where do they serve their videos? Where do they store them? Is it an peer-to-peer? Or
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's a peer-to-peer blockchain. They have their own cryptocurrency.
So it's people
that
like
the whole network. Yeah. So
people like you and me that store it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So
when you view videos, it'll create a local video folder on your system.
Yeah, cached videos. Like
now, you don't have to take part in that if you don't want that stuff downloaded to your system, but it does help the network. So
yeah, like when I do a speed test for my ISP, it shows me 40 megabits down and 40 up. But my actual connection to the World Wide Web is 16 down and 16 up.
Yeah.
So don't trust speedtest.net. It's just
oh yeah, the speed test doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean it's a good indication of whether your internet's working or not, but
it's not the actual speed because it only measures your speed between you and your ISP, not you and the World Wide Web.
What's the alternative? Traceroute? Sorry, go ahead.
You were asking about traceroute?
Yeah, what's the alternative to the speed test then to determine your actual connection? Like to do an actual traceroute and count the hops? Okay.
Yes, yeah. This is why ISPs, when you call them for support, this is the first question they ask. They tell you to run a trace route.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
They will get the actual speed between you and the World Wide Web. And they always ask you to download a file from a certain website outside the country, the host country.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
My ISP throttles my upload to 10% of my download on it. Yeah. So, and I can't see where all these people are that store these like IPFS. I really don't want somebody else's application stored on my computer accessing the internet behind my back.
No, they don't store it on your actual computer. They they store it on the ISP's cache. There's a server called the cache server on your ISP your ISP's end. So when you access the same video, for example, again, it either picks up where you left off, or it buffers it completely much faster because it's still on your ISP's cache server. Yeah. This is how it works, not your computer.
Most people are on laptops, or they're on smartphones, or they're on tablets. Yeah. Often with Wi-Fi connections, so they're not really suitable for peer-to-peer sharing.
No, because you're going to pay for that data. I mean, it's going to cost. But depending on your plan.
Where are all these millions of people that are sharing these files? There aren't that many out there, are there?
Well,
probably cloud storage, Google, Amazon, cheap storage is what you'd use for massive amounts of data.
Like now, I'm looking for a host to host my repositories because when a distro grows, we start putting more packages on our repositories, and sometimes we exceed the allowed maximum on GitHub, which is 100 megabytes. We need to start hosting our files somewhere else. So now, currently, I'm on the search for a host that where I can host my large repository.
Yeah, I might run into that issue at some point too, because GitLab has a 10 gigabyte.
So you've got all your videos backed up outside of YouTube?
I have all my videos backed up on Amazon S3.
Yeah, because
that's a fast server. That's a super fast server.
And I also have them backed up on Odyssey, which we just talked about. So I've got my videos in a couple of different places. If things just
some people don't. I've got 5 examples here of people who've been locked out. In Amazon in 2009. They went into your Kindle and removed 1984 from your Kindle without your permission, which is really 1984-ish when you think about it. Facebook.
Well, I, proprietary, right? I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but DRM. I've talked about these ebook readers, especially from Amazon. You're kind of setting yourself up
Right.
When you buy one of those devices, buy physical books, or if you can download like a PDF or something, that's fine. But if it's tied to this DRM service on this device, you're going to lose those books at some point.
You're at their mercy. Yeah.
You're never going to keep those books forever if it's locked into a proprietary system like that.
That's why I love GOG for games. GOG for games, they did the right thing. I love them, and I wouldn't worry about spending my money with them.
Yeah. Somebody had 700 videos just deleted. They were older videos. YouTube has made an announcement that they're going through and deleting older videos that aren't frequently accessed. They lost 700. That was their business. They had a business where, like, if you were an Indian, you had a degree. What would the degree be recognized in Quebec? So they had a lot of videos, and they just lost it instantly. No appeal. You violated our terms of service. I don't think they did. They were just old videos.
It's just an algorithm that if you get tripped up in it, a lot of innocent people get tripped up in that kind of stuff.
And recently, Mark Hamill, he's trying to create an account on Twitter with his real name, Mark Hamill, not Mark Hamill himself. Yep. And Twitter suspended the account a few minutes later.
Yep. Yeah.
Facebook, somebody had in Australia was making game computers, assembling game computers and selling them through Facebook. And he woke up one morning and was locked out, violating terms of service. He doesn't know how to this day. He had a reference to a local football team, but it was an innocuous reference, and he doesn't know if that was the cause or not. But he had to rebuild his business on another account on Facebook on it.
Yeah, I've mentioned this for a few years now, that there's a distro tube over on Twitter that's not me, and I can't do anything about it. I contact Twitter, and all they will say is that if I send them a copy of my driver's license, birth certificate, and social security card, send them my blood type and all of this, and prove that I'm me, then I can have the account. I was like, well, why don't you make the guy that's actually claiming to be me prove that he's me? I'm not sending you. I don't want a Twitter account. I just want you to get rid of that guy from using my name, right?
And I just read one on Hacker News yesterday. He'd been with Google for 15 years. He got violated terms of service. Everything's gone. All his downloaded music, no appeal. He just violated our terms of service.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna happen. You have to be prepared. Like, I mean, it's one of those things. The reason I started posting to Odyssey, finally, one day something will happen. YouTube will die. Google will finally get tired of
cancel. Right? Doesn't mean ask.
Yeah.
And so I did that about 3 times over 3 days. Then all of a sudden I'm surfing, and you have violated our terms of service. You are locked out and suspended. You have 6 weeks to appeal. If you want to appeal, click the link below. So I click the link below, and there it is, asking you for your SMS message again on it.
God.
And so I waited 2 weeks. A couple of days ago, I got an email from Facebook, and they're saying, "Hey, we found this group. You might want to join it. Click there to join the group." Join the group, and says, provide this email, the SMS to log in. So I was so egregious in my conduct that they sent me a link to join in again. Right?
But you want to hear a weird one? My uncle passed away.
Hey guys, hold on just a second.
Hold on.
We've got some bad feed. Okay. Yeah, whatever that screeching noise is, Ben, there's an issue with probably your sound server on your Gentoo installation. You back on Gentoo?
Yes.
I knew it. I called it. Oh, that's a shame.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had my microphone up, and I'm using these crappy earbuds because it's all I've got that my ears can stand. So, I mean, I don't have a headset like you do, Derek. So this is the best crap that I've got.
Well,
and I'm not using Pipewire. Oh shit, no. Because I mean, Gentoo and that kind of thing, I don't know how to do it, so not gonna happen.
Yeah, when you're on Gentoo, you set yourself for disaster. Daughter tried to delete his account. You know what they requested? They requested his signature, and his daughter was like, "How do you expect me to get his signature, him to sign something if he's already dead and gone?"
To remove anything.
Yeah, nothing is deleted from the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my problem with.
Probably do is after we stream this, I probably just delete the rendered video, because this one is going to be painful for anybody that actually tries to go back and watch it. Because I mean, we've been streaming for 40 minutes, and I doubt we've got much actually recorded. It was recorded to the video.
Are you using cable or Wi-Fi?
Oh no, this is cable internet.
Oh, good. Because it shows a Wi-Fi icon on Jitsi, orange icon. It means connection is bad on your end.
Yeah, I mean it's something going on here, but the internet here at this office is usually pretty fast, really fast usually.
You got what? A gig?
Yeah.
I'm still on 16 down and 16 up. That's the fastest you can get in Lebanon, and I'm lucky. I'm lucky I have that. So, and it's not unlimited. It's all, we have 20 gigs a day, so around 600 gigs a month.
I mean, according to OBS, I'm getting. Let's see.
You're getting 4 megabits up, at least.
What I am getting. You know what? Things have changed in OBS. I had 12,000 dropped frames earlier when you asked me to take a look at it. Now it says I have 6,000. I don't understand how the drop frames went down, but the percentage went up.
It goes according to time. So in this period of time, you had this much down, and now since it reestablished the connection, because sometimes the connection drops, and when it reestablishes the connection, it starts from 0.
Yeah, well, I'm going to quit playing with the stream. I mean, I'm going to let the stream go, but I can't really fix this internet problem, unfortunately. So we're just going to chat, and afterwards I'll probably just...
You just got better now. No,
yeah,
It's like the electricity here. Like it goes. I wait for it to come back because I use UPSs. So I wait for it. Usually it comes back within 3 minutes. I wait for it. I say, okay. And it takes like 7 minutes. Okay, now I need to start shutting down my PCs. As soon as I hit the power off button, the electricity comes back. So it's kind of annoying. It's like cat and mouse with electricity over here.
Yeah, that's what I posted in the chat. And it's like, internet is bad. Hamsters, please run faster. It's like, spin that wheel.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
So this guy was running Arch, and he decided to install every package in Arch. He went through and wrote a script to install every package.
I've seen people do that on Arch and Debian, and hey, I'm going to install every package. You don't have the hard disk space.
I thought right away of Josh from Gentoo, install every package in Gentoo.
Like, don't do that.
Speaking of Gentoo,
he had 44 desktops, and in the login screen, they didn't think to put scroll bars in, so he could only see some of them on the screen.
And there's also the problem with the distribution that I'm using. It's an RPM based that it's actually not possible to install every package because some package
it's conflict.
Yeah, he had package conflicts, but he disabled the package conflict resolution.
Oh, just force it.
But it's an interesting test to see if it's actually how the computer works, and by doing that. So
he said it was slow.
Yeah, of course it was slow.
I wonder why.
Of course it was slow. Can you imagine doing the same thing with Gentoo? I'm going to compile every package available for Gentoo.
I do have an entire repository of Gentoo packages that I use for my own local systems.
Of course.
Yeah, because
Josh, it sounds like you just woke up.
That's kind of because I did.
That's because he compiled Gentoo all night.
Well, here's the thing about Gentoo. You see, it broke.
Oh no!
That's not the thing. That's just an essential component to Gentoo. It breaks.
We're using the ButterFS file system, and I'm like, you know what? There's supposedly a bug going around for ButterFS on SSDs. Let's enable that option and just see if it's actually like true. So I turn it on, and ButterFS goes to run the automatic defragmentation, and it kills the solid state disk. So I lose the Gentoo install because
I've ran Gentoo.
Didn't think to clone it.
When I was distro hopping a lot more back in the day, in the early days of the channel, I think I ran Gentoo for 2 or 3 weeks one time on my main machine. And I made some videos, and I ended up hopping pretty quick from Gentoo because I realized after 2 weeks I could either have a working X server or I could have Gentoo installed, but I couldn't have both, Josh. I couldn't.
Well, you see, I have seen the light. I have seen the light, and
here I am.
Either way, I run Mint.
Linux Mint?
Yeah.
You doing a XFCE?
No, we were doing Cinnamon.
Cinnamon? You don't strike me as a cinnamon kind of person. That's too much bling for you, Josh.
Specifically, we are using Mint 19.1, and we are refusing to update our system.
Yeah, but I mean, it's based on Ubuntu LTS. There shouldn't be that many updates anyway. There's no reason to not take the security updates.
Well, of course, but nobody updates their Mint installs. Even the Mint developers say that. So we are not going to run a single update on it.
That's not just a Mint thing. That's every Linux distribution thing. Ubuntu has that same problem.
Oh,
because
okay.
They've got tens of millions of machines out there that are still running like Ubuntu 14.04.
Well, just to let you know,
people don't update even when they should.
Well, when your system is as out of date as it is, if you try to install packages in the terminal,
you can't.
It constantly tells you.
Well, no. At some point, they turned the repos off, and then even if you wanted to update, you can't because hey, you know what? We're not even connecting to your machine anymore.
Well, but you see, the GUI package manager that they have. Not Synaptic, the other one. It still works.
Okay.
Well, this reminds me of a guy who's stretching his muscles, showing off a machine with Arch of all systems that he has 3,000 hours or something uptime.
Oh, yeah.
And he has never ran updating on it, and he says it works. It still works
until you update.
He tried updating. I told him run the update. He ran the update. The update just halted. Halted.
Because there's going to be too many conflicts, because at that point, literally every single component of that Linux installation has to be updated, and the likelihood that works out for you, even if you wanted to fix it, which package was the problem? Because literally every package had to update. You're not going to be able to troubleshoot that.
Yeah, because some packages conflict with the same package with a different name.
Right.
Yeah. So, Derek, do you have many package conflicts in Arch? You've installed a lot of packages over the years. Do you?
Not many. Every month or so, I'll do an update where there'll be like one thing is being replaced by something. Usually it's a developer has renamed something or something got forked and Arch wants you to uninstall the old one and install the new one. But I rarely run into a situation where there's any serious conflicts.
Well, I've been running Nyxt for 6 months now. It's pretty good, but I have some issues with it. One of them is package conflicts. There's more than you would like. I think I installed Nuclear and it removed some code from LibreOffice icons, and I couldn't.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
I couldn't uninstall or reinstall any package or update or anything. I had to go back and reinstall from scratch, like you do if your computer gets hung up. And
that doesn't make any sense because
what distro are you using?
So,
hang on just a second here. You're saying that you're using Nyxt? And Nyxt isn't the world's greatest operating system and that absolutely everybody should run it?
I'm saying it's usable. I still run it, but there are issues, just like there are issues with other.
You're like
But
the
if you're-
first person that I've ever seen mention that there's a problem with Nyxt.
Well, I got another one.
Good job.
I don't
Let's
have
hear me.
just that one.
Yeah, Big Pod, we hear you.
But the thing is, it's resolvable. I uninstalled Nyxt, which takes about a minute. Reinstalled it, takes about a minute. And I have a script to reinstall all the packages. I go away for 20 minutes and I'm back to where I start. So there's next to no mental effort, and it's back
Yeah,
to
there's
where you
something-
were. The dot files are still the same, and so everything is okay as long as I don't install the offending program again.
Yeah, that package has got to be broken, Murray, because why
Yeah.
would Nuclear have a dependency on anything LibreOffice
That's
related?
what I'm saying. There are broken packages in there, and
Yeah.
that cause issues every now and then.
Yeah,
Right.
because there's no way, because people would have noticed installing Nuclear if it had to install LibreOffice as a dependency. Like, people would immediately say, oh, no way.
It's not installing LibreOffice. It's deleting some icons that I have LibreOffice installed, but it went in
So-
there and deleted some icons.
So
from
so it's conflicting with LibreOffice, is
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah.
So that's
But
That
I
is
I
why-
can't imagine what would conflict with LibreOffice other than other Office applications.
that's why I reinstalled from scratch. Could do it. The other thing, the one that annoys me is locales. There's a problem with locales, and it's still outstanding. It's been there for a while. I installed the core utils, and one of them is the date command. And the date is out by 8 hours all the time. And so I just remove, and other times I get issues like, look, there's a locale.c instead of English.utfs or whatever. So I Googled it. I couldn't resolve that issue. That's the one that bothers me, but it hasn't really stopped me from doing much on it.
Well, you have wrong time zone then. If it's time, that's 8 hours.
If it's exactly 8, yeah, it's going to be.
Wrong
That's what I
time
mean.
zone.
It's the wrong locale, but I can't figure
No,
out
it's
how
not
to set.
wrong locale. It's wrong time zone. There's
Yeah,
a
it's different.
Locale is what you use for language and
Oh,
keyboard.
okay.
Yeah.
Time zone is not used to set time. It's UTF or whatever, probably the GMT
whatever.
plus minus or something like that.
No, it's in zone info /America
Or that, yeah.
/Chicago.
Yeah,
Right.
something like that.
But on Nyxt, it's not going to be the same directory structure because they move stuff around, so they could be.
So
Something weird.
that was the second issue. The third issue is I installed Dart and Flutter, and it worked through Nyxt, and it works. You go to the command line, issue some Dart commands, works fine, and do it. But I went to run it in IntelliJ IDE, and
Big
because
Pod, what are you doing?
There appears to be some shaking here. OBS
Also-
virtual cam. Playing with OBS virtual cam.
Speaking of conflicts, I just received a notification that there's a package update. I tried to install it. It says failed to prepare a transaction, could not satisfy dependencies.
With Electron.
Electron.
Yeah.
I just had the same issue. It just uninstalled Discord and updated
Yep.
everything.
Yeah, just uninstall them and reinstall them, and it'll be fine. Sometimes you have to do that with Python packages on Arch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one is Bitwarden. It's mentioning Bitwarden.
Yeah, it's Bitwarden and Discord. I just had the exact same issue.
Yeah.
The first,
Usually, if you run into
First
that,
time
especially with AUR, if you run into that with AUR packages, just uninstall them and reinstall them, and usually it fixes the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, since DP you're using Arco Linux, you already know about the up all and update command aliases.
I don't use the Arco aliases because I have my own config files. I've never looked at it, what they ship with by default.
But you have an idea about them.
I use them. They work generally well, but I don't like that they still use Yay.
I use Paru. I replaced Yay with Paru myself in Zero
What is
Linux.
wrong with Yay?
Well, is it maintained once the
Yes.
last commit?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, the maintainer of Paru initially stated that he was like the main guy with Yay, and he left. And then when he left, a guy is still maintaining Yay. He's like, hey, don't leave because I'm still here. I don't know who was doing most of the work on Yay, but Paru seems to work. Yay seems to work. But most distributions seem to have moved to Paru, because I know Manjaro is using Paru now, and that's a big one. So if they're moving to Paru, I'd probably move to it too.
Yeah, Paru and plus Arco Linux have created their own Paru configuration file with, like, instead of receiving, do you want to verify the build if it's okay before running the install? They skip that. It's just goes straight to the install. So I used that file instead of using their package, modified it to suit my needs, and I included it and it's part of the RICE. The Zero Linux RICE, because it's in the config folder. So when you install the Zero Linux RICE, it includes Paru configuration file.
Of course, DTOS includes Aura for the AUR helper because that's written in Haskell.
Aura.
Just because.
Zero Linux has Aura, offers Aura in the installer as an option.
Just to stick with the Haskell meme, right? That's the only reason I include it. Just...
Well, you know, a DTOS Gentoo edition, which currently is unreleased, is still working on compiling.
Yeah. Yeah, because that would... Yeah. No. Because so many people are going to run into issues. Like, so many people run into issues trying to install DTOS on various Arch-based distributions because everybody does things differently. Can you imagine? Somebody compiles for like 8 hours and then, package conflict. Let's start over.
Well, I'm gonna say, besides on Arch, the package conflicts happen is one of the giant failures of QA. I understand on Arch, but anywhere else, package conflicts mean there is either failure in QA, or you added something on your own, or, well, failure of packager themselves.
Or the fact that 80% of your packages are packaged in the AUR by just random people. That's like you and me.
Besides Arch. I mean, Arch has three problems here. First of all, everybody uses AUR. You
have to. Most of the packages are in the AUR. The core repositories don't contain that much stuff.
Second reason is, even those that are in main repositories, they don't have any QA, and that's by design.
Yeah.
But if you want to go seriously,
well, you have to automate everything. I mean, you can only do so much to.
And I have some insight in how Arch repositories work. So, I know a person that was Arch core maintainer. So,
I'm running Manjaro, and I don't use the AUR. I use Nyxt, and I can get just about everything I want from Nyxt without any issues. If you're running mainline applications like OBS or Audacity or something like that, Nyxt is fine. If you have 5 or 6 you want to keep up to date, it's as easy to use as Pacman. Easy to install and easy to maintain the repositories.
I'm of different opinion.
Which brings me to because you mentioned Manjaro. I find Manjaro to be very stable because they, as long as you don't use the AUR, if you just use, hear me out.
It's questionably stable, even if you don't use AUR.
No, hear me out. I'm using it. I've been using it for a year. It's been on my system for a year. Not a single issue because number one, I don't use the AUR. Number two, I only control what packages I use. I know which packages to use. I filter myself from testing packages I don't know anything about. I first test them on a VM, see if they work. They're going to cause conflicts. If they're going to cause conflicts, I don't use them. I find alternatives that don't. But if you control how you use Manjaro, it's okay. It's an okay system.
Well, I would say for most people, it would be fine. Obviously, we're different kind of users. None of us are going to take a base install of Manjaro with the GNOME desktop environment and never install anything from the AUR, right? We're going to install like dozens of AUR packages, and we're also going to install third-party packages that we go grab off of GitHub. We're going to do a lot of weird stuff, and we're going to break Manjaro.
Yeah.
And I've done that, and that's okay. It's my fault. I don't blame Manjaro for that.
Broken Manjaro many times.
But I break everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I being a distro maintainer myself, I know how to use a distro. So Manjaro for me is very stable. I love it. It just works as long as I do my research first, test things on a VM before letting them touch my main system.
My experience is the same. I've been using it for about 4 months, and I don't use the AUR, and I haven't had any trouble with Manjaro at all.
Well, you
Manjaro
know,
breaks me all the time, or it did break when I did use it.
Yeah, I remember
know,
that. Yes, and you no longer use Manjaro, right?
I could get it to break like this without ever using any kind
the
of
adage
AR
was it
package.
works until the day it doesn't. And then
Yeah.
you get a blank screen, right?
Basically.
you know,
I'm gonna be honest. Even without trying, I can break Ubuntu, and I know how to use it probably better than most people here. Simply because I am one of the maintainers of Ubuntu Mate, and I have a deep understanding of how it works. And I still break my system without knowing I broke it and knowing how I broke it, because no matter how smart we are, how much we know, these things are still 75% mysteries to every one of us. We don't know everything.
Exactly.
And-
But the best part of Linux is that we enjoy things breaking because it allows us to learn and build workarounds. On Windows, you cannot find workarounds and build your own workarounds.
Well, I have one workaround for my system breaking. It's called grab a USB and install another version.
Yeah, it depends on how bad I break something. Like if I break something to the point where I know it's going to take me longer than an hour to fix it, I'm going to reinstall.
Anything is longer than me reinstalling a system. Let's be clear.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Because my time investment into fixing system goes, is it 5 minutes? No, it won't be. That means I'm wasting my time. Actually, I'm wasting my boss's time.
Yeah, there was a time I was like that too, where I just I reinstalled every time something broke because it was so much quicker. Hey, reboot, get a kernel panic. I don't even think about it. Grab a USB stick.
Exactly.
Boom, we're reinstalling.
But like for example, since I'm the maintainer of Zero Linux,
you have to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to figure it out. Not for me, for other users, because for me it never breaks because I know what I included and how I included and how I embedded things. But for regular users, it's going to constantly break for them. That's why I have my Discord server and my Telegram. But I have to learn things for them because I discovered creating a distro is not as simple as creating a distro and putting it out there. You have to back it up. And you don't, since you don't have the same hardware as the millions of users out there, you have to figure out how to test the fixes that you're going to suggest to those users. Like for example, fingerprint. I wouldn't know. I don't have a fingerprint sensor, but they wouldn't accept that as an answer. They would immediately move away from your distro if you answer them that. You have to do the research for them. Tell them to test it. If it doesn't work, you have to keep on searching for other workarounds until one works.
Yeah,
they're the testers. The users are the beta testers, and they should accept that fact. If they don't accept that fact, they shouldn't be using Linux.
And this is why like people ask me to, create a distro, put out an ISO, and I'm hesitant mainly because I know I'm not going to support it. There's no way. I don't have the time. So there's no point in me even. There's no point in me even attempt it. Yeah.
I have the time because the current situation, I don't have a lot of work to do. So but it's a nightmare trying to figure out things for hardware you don't own. That's the worst nightmare.
But even on the stuff I do have, like all my various GitLab projects, and I think I talked about this on a video a while back, a month or two ago, is even when I get support requests on some of my stuff on my GitLab, I never answer it right away. Like I'll get the email, and I'm not going to immediately go there. I give it a couple hours or even a couple of days, because most of the time that issue will be closed before I get back to it the next day, because that guy figured out the problem himself, closed his issue. Like I didn't even have to fool with it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Most people are going to solve their own problems. 9 times out of 10, they're going to solve the problem themselves. You just give them a little time.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just give them a little time, just give them a small push in the right direction, and they solve it. Like a lot of people were asking about the infamous audio issue with Discord. They at some point they reached the thread on the Discord website that was started 2 years ago, and it's still ongoing. Once they reach that, they understand the reality of the severity of the issue. So, and they don't comment again on the matter. They just understand it. Give them some time, they get their answer.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to audio, Linux need to upgrade, and that's
we've discussed that early in the stream.
A lot, because the sad part is I have wireless earbuds that are unusable on Linux.
Hey guys,
Somebody said hi. I don't know.
I was clicking on a video. I'm sorry.
Okay. Somebody said, "Hey guys." I'm like, "Hey."
Okay.
That sounds like the very professional way I start my videos. Hey guys. They tell you, in video and in audio, be more professional. Never. I'm just casual though. I know it's not the proper way. Like that's not the way they would tell you to actually talk. On a professional podcast. But how you doing, guys?
That's why I appreciate your live streams. You're one of the few that are down to earth and don't pretend to be, or don't put on a persona per se.
Well, I'm gonna say what first thing they teach you in any kind of acting, any kind of TV school, and kind of anywhere, even when you're just behind the camera, they will teach you one thing. Everyone that is in front of a camera, anytime it's playing a character. When you're in front of a camera, you will be playing a character, even if that character is yourself.
I hate to say this, Josh, but it's official. Gentoo is shit.
Well,
I'm sorry, but
you just destroyed my plan of installing Gentoo on my personal laptop.
Well, Ben, you should join me on the Mint train, where we just find like the oldest possible ISO of Mint to install, and we just install that and just never update it.
Why?
Oh God!
Because that's how everybody runs Mint. Nobody updates it.
Even the latest Mint is horrible, much else the older ones.
Yeah. I thought Ben was on Fedora for a while anyway.
I was, but
You broke it?
Not necessarily that, but the package manager frustrated the crap out of me.
DNF?
Yeah.
It's not my favorite either, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Whose favorite is DNF besides Red Hat people?
Hold on. But the biggest frustration I'm having with Gentoo right now is this crappy binary kernel. And, the main reason I'm using it, despite it having over 500 cores assigned to it, is the fact that my trackpad works. That's the main reason I'm using it. And
you could move to the latest Slackware.
Oh, good.
Look, I'm gonna
be even more frustrating.
I'm gonna give you the best advice I can give you. Just install Ubuntu and be done with it.
I'm honestly thinking about
just stop the pain, right? Just stop the pain.
Honestly, most people should be running Ubuntu if they want to run Linux.
Yeah.
Or some pre-canned distro made by someone some company like.
Yeah. I mean,
if you're gonna run Red Hat, run Ubuntu, run SteamOS, whatever.
I get you, Big Pot. I see your point. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of at the point where I don't care what I run. I just want something that freaking works.
Yeah.
Debian.
Yeah. Arch, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't care what it is anymore. I want off this pure shit.
You can do a vanilla Arch install in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm gonna end up is Arch, because I mean, it's better than nothing.
And then just throw. I know you like DWM or a window manager. Then you don't even have to worry about packaging for your window manager because it's all suckless builds. You're just going to maintain that yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a real stripped down system that should never break on you
Yeah.
That's a good
The only problem with
recommendation.
it, Derek, is the fact that I'd have to throw a couple of patches in there, and I've never known what patches to go for. That's the downside.
That's a good recommendation, Arch. Better than nothing.
Yeah.
Better than
Yeah, it's
The
definitely
problem
better
is
than
with
nothing.
DWM is that there's a crap ton of patches in the website, and I'm like, what do I do now?
Okay, just create your own distro and use it because you know what it's made of.
Oh, Ben,
What?
I know didn't you make a GitHub account or a GitLab account?
Yes,
You need to
but that was
version control all of your suckless stuff. That way you never have to
Yeah.
go back and patch them again. You just
Well, the
maintain.
problem with that is, Derek, is that I use someone else's DWM config.
That's okay. You can still, if it's to your liking, you can still put it on your GitHub, and it's still your copy. I mean,
Yeah, I remember you helped me with that.
Yeah.
So we might as well do that. Yeah.
Like the other day, the maintainer of Lightly Shaders that gives the rounded corners in KDE, he deleted his entire repo. Now he has some Ukrainian blah blah war related something. So somebody forked his repo earlier, so I forked the fork so I can keep it.
Welcome
Well, that's
to
the same.
Linux.
That's the same thing we had with Audacity, as when the whole thing with the telemetry. Like there was like 5,000 forks of that thing the next day because so many people wanted to fork it just in case. Right?
Yeah.
It's just
I honestly hate forking. To be honest, most of the time it's done for
no reason. I know.
absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
But in the case of Lightly Shaders, I use it, so I need it. And the guy deleted all his files. He just has a pro-Ukrainian, I don't know, whatever thing, news article instead. So just a README file. So I had to fork it because I had no choice. I need it for my writing.
Yeah.
So
I think what Big Pod is talking about, because I see this all the time, is people will fork a project
and never update
and never do anything with it.
Yeah.
Like it's just their copy. That's like you could have just Git cloned it locally to your machine and had a copy. You didn't need to waste more space on the internet with on GitHub or GitLab with another fork that's just an exact clone.
But if the actual creator of the project that I forked deleted the thing, that means
in that case, yeah.
That means it's never going to be updated. So
Let me tell you, I'm gonna talk about something that happened in all my book. It happened in JavaScript world, and I actually know about it, and it's perfect representation of what open source is. And we probably talked about this already, but a guy had an open source repository called Colors, and he basically went and deleted the thing, replaced it with his manifesto why he deleted it. Or no, he actually had a code that basically slowed down a website and crashed the website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had people do that or were trusted maintainers of projects that pushed something knowing that they were going to break the project just to stick it to them, right?
This shows exactly what it was shown in the XKCD comic, how open source dependency works. And reality is open source, we on one side we rely too much on open source and the fact that someone will fork it, and then you go through dependency list of a popular project. It depends on 3 other projects like that way, 3 other projects that way, and just one of them goes missing, and
the
everything
whole
on the
thing
stack is fucked.
Yeah, but pull the stick from under the thing, and it all crumbles down. Yeah. I see that happening.
This isn't House of Cards. This is House of Small Leaves. You blow it a bit, and it basically goes to smithereens.
Yeah, that's true.
Not exactly happiest with the state of how it is.
Like, for example, maintaining packages, getting packages from the AUR, building them and putting it on your own repository. That's a problem all on its own. Because if you have a machine where you build all your packages on, those packages have dependencies. And they will end up installing those, forcing you to install those dependencies on your system to be able to build the package. For example, you end up with you started with XFCE, you end up with GNOME, you end up with KDE and DWM and everything. Just because
That's why you always
build
should
the
have a
package.
build server.
Yep.
That's
Yep,
why
because
I
you're
have
gonna
a build
have
server.
because you're gonna have to build them constantly because there are always going to be
Yep.
new dependencies.
That's
Yeah.
why I need to have a build server, I need to have it all automated. When I ran Arch, I had every package in AUR to use. I had automated through a very complicated set of systems. Though I know it's way too complicated than what a normal people should use. It should be all appliance for them, and someone should write it, but not me. I have too much work.
There is an AUR builder utility somewhere on the AUR. You download that package and it does all the building for you. And I don't know how to use it, but from what I read, it doesn't install the dependencies on your system. It emulates their installation.
It probably builds it on their server, I guess. It would have to.
I think
It
so.
probably uses some sort of churut or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, horrible
Yeah.
mess, horrible House of Cards mess.
Yeah, but that would be even slower building
Yes,
those
it
packages.
is. It is
Yeah.
slower. Unless you go full-blown container, it's gonna be way slower.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to do to help Ben out real quick, guys, I'm going to go and pick a random distribution from DistroWatch. I'm going to hit the random button, and whatever it comes up with.
You're gonna have
Here,
fun.
I'll put it on screen just to verify. For those watching the YouTube chat, I'm going to hit random.
Hannah
do the same
Montana.
thing.
Come on, Hannah. Come on,
Man,
Hannah.
Wow.
Derek is determined to fix this problem.
PC Linux, and that's PISI Linux from Turkey. It is active. It's 198 for popularity, so it's like in the top 200.
Low.
And it is based on nothing.
Wow,
It's an independent.
It's an
project.
independent distribution, probably. That means it probably was built on Linux from scratch, I'm guessing.
I've never.
Well,
you
even
should
heard of
join
this
that.
thing.
Does
That's
that mean
funny.
it's not better than nothing?
The website is down, so
Okay,
that's
that
not
was
looking.
a bomb.
Okay, we'll pick one more. Let's make sure it's an active distribution. Haiku. Haiku is not Linux. We'll skip that one.
What about Blue Star Linux? It's based on Arch and it uses KDE Plasma.
Playmo.
Well,
Playmo Linux.
what is that?
It has a website. It's all in Chinese. All right. This experiment was failed. Never mind, Ben. Just go with Arch.
I'm just
Go
going.
with
Yeah, that's what I
go
was
with
gonna do.
Ubuntu something or something.
Plus, I
Ubuntu
know how to
Budgie.
install Arch.
Well, okay.
Use it.
How about-
Use it.
Go
use
to
it-
ubuntu.com/download and you're gonna get Ubuntu.
No. Use the Arch Titus. Use Arch Titus, the Chris Titus Tech.
Oh,
Arch.
don't do that.
Titus. Yeah, that would
Just
probably be the easiest thing to do.
Well, you know-
probably blow up in your face.
But literally, you can format the drive and run the chroot and the pack strap in under 5 minutes. Like
What
you
I
can
have to-
seriously,
what I
you
have
can
to
have
do-
the base Arch install done in 5 minutes. You really don't need a script for that.
Make an ISO,
No, we don't.
put it on your USB, put the USB in your computer, and type arch-installer.
Yeah,
And
that's
follow
really
the
the
on-screen
easiest way to do it.
instructions, and you're gonna get everything you need installed right then.
No, actually, Arch has their Python installer built
That's
into
it.
it, right?
Arch
Yeah,
Dash
yeah.
installer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
I've never tried it because it scares me. Because
it is great.
is it?
Yeah,
I'll try. I should
once.
try it. I should try it on video one time because,
Yeah, you
like I said,
should,
I've never
Derek.
used it. Because it's one of those things. What is it really saving you? I mean, like I said, the pack strap and all that takes like 5 minutes.
You know, Derek, you still haven't gotten around to my Storm OS yet.
I haven't because I had to take a look at more important things the past month. The Slackware release.
No, I know.
The Slackware release was big. Like I was actually going to take a look at your distribution bin the day that Slackware came out, and I just put it to the back burner. I was like, you know what? Because Ben, you're going to be around for a while. I know you're going to have a new update of Storm OS soon.
Well, I'm doing it right now, as a matter of fact.
That's what I was thinking. So
Well, yeah, I mean, I just pushed out the XFCE version last night.
it's
And I'm
different
doing
with
the,
Slackware.
I'm doing the
Slackware
plasma
is
one.
6 years, right? Once every 6 years, Slackware comes out. I
Yeah,
got to do that.
Slackware is yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you something since you mentioned Slackware in 6 years.
Yeah.
In your opinion, would you
Slackware.
trust a distro that comes out once every quarter?
Once every quarter?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
there's nothing wrong with the 3-month release schedule, I guess.
No problem there. If there is proper QA done, there is no problem.
Yeah.
I am the QA. I am the QA.
Yeah,
There is a problem. There is
Well-
one person QA.
You know,
Every 6 years, isn't that the same as locusts coming out every 6 years or something?
so
Is that the same?
Installation because it has to download 3 months worth of updates.
Right. Oh, well, because you're basing on Arch. Well, you might want to. I don't know how viable that would be, but I mean, obviously, what mainline Arch does is they put out a monthly ISO.
This is what I was thinking of doing, but the Calamares installer has a flag where I can tell it not to update the system during installation. Let the user do it post installation.
Do that.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
It makes the install much quicker.
Look, I'm gonna tell you really simply. You have 2 problems there. First of all, is making a distro based on Arch.
Yeah, like if you're worried about point releases. I
know people who worked on Arch for a long time. Talking someone who was a big man in Arch, and even he said that people who make distros based on Arch are not that great, not that smart, because they most likely don't understand Arch.
Well, right.
Make a distro based on it.
Now, many of us have talked to people that have worked on Endeavor and Manjaro and Arco. We know a lot of those guys saying they're not smart. I mean, some of those guys are really smart.
I'm gonna say it this way.
I mean,
No, but we get
those guys aren't the problem. Manjaro, Endeavor, Arco. Those 3 distros aren't the problem. Problems are these one-man distros.
That's what
you're talking about
It's not that they're not
Billy
smart,
Bob
it's
OS.
what they show.
Basically,
I think he's literally just taking a shot at Ben.
XYZ distros that just pop up and do all kinds of changes. They do a desktop environment. That's it. Those distros are a problem anyway. Those distros in most cases shouldn't exist anyway. But when they do Arch, they don't understand Arch. Look, greatest example. What the hell is that thing called?
Barracuda.
Garuda.
That's the greatest example. Those are people who understand how Arch works. That's why Garuda breaks more times than.
Well,
they understand, but they are really.
No, they don't.
They're trying to do stuff that's not normal, right? Obviously, when you're
stuff that on Arch won't work. They don't work on Ubuntu.
Yeah,
So
but
they won't work on
it's
Arch.
nice having somebody using the Linux Zen kernel with ButterFS, with the
not the
fish
problem.
shell, with all like
No.
they're trying to do every weird thing that they could possibly do all in one distribution.
Those things aren't weird. Let's be honest, things aren't weird. Problem
Well,
is
they're-
what they do with packaging. Packaging is everything.
They're not just redesigning the desktop and
Right.
using Latte Dock instead of the KDE desktop.
Instead of whatever plank or whatever.
I've done
Yeah.
broken crap.
Latte Dock is.
I have
whoa.
KDE on a work laptop, and I don't use Latte Dock. I don't want.
Okay.
I don't
The,
want
the,
to
author,
break
the
everything.
author of Manjaro Architect says he feels overwhelmed. He wants to refactor everything, but he just doesn't have the time and resources to do it. So
Because it shouldn't be a one-man job. If he's the only person, the problem is not. It's not the project. It's not what they're trying to do. It's just some people take on something that they can't maintain with one person.
Look,
right?
I agree with you, Big Pod, 100%. Because as a one man army, and choosing Arch, it becomes impossible and overwhelming. Because Arch keeps releasing those packages, and if I leave an ISO online for too long, it's gonna cause more problems than it's worth. That I agree with you. It was just a passion project. I was pushed into putting it online because
People bugged you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to resist when people people try to talk me into so much crap. Hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And I've learned, hey, just ignore all that, because they're going to get you into something that is going to be completely overwhelming.
But
like you said,
I am a realist. So what did I do? I set realistic expectations on my website. I mention, and on every post I create on the forum, I do mention this is a passion project. Don't be surprised that one day you're going to wake up and see the whole project being scrapped. It's a passion project. You asked me to share, I'm sharing. I never promised that it's going to be an ongoing project.
Well, the good thing is being based on Arch. Like if one day you decided you didn't have time to maintain it, you could probably push a script or a program or something that these people can run to just change the mirrors back to the default Arch mirrors and be done with it.
I use the Arch mirrors. I don't use any custom mirrors.
You don't? Oh, well, you're good then.
And after you do the initial installation, you should no longer support them.
Yeah, you should just tell them go to the Arch forums and tell them you installed Zero Linux.
Okay. Problem are those that create custom packages on top of their own, just 1-2 packages, so they have their own packages, and those things break.
Hold on a second. Big Pod, you're saying that DT's own OS is doing it wrong because he's creating his own repository and making his own packages?
Yes. Because unless you're properly versioning them, which 99% of people don't.
Yes, that's correct. That's 100% correct. But
you always need to be at least one major version above Arch, because otherwise you're gonna be in World of Hurt.
According to what DT just said, that's a good point of view basing on Arch, because we can undo what we did to create our distro with one script.
Yes, but you can also fuck their systems like that because of package conflicts.
Now, to be fair, my repository, most of the programs in my repository are my own stuff anyway.
Okay.
There's a few that are not. Like I do maintain. I think I build Paru for whatever reason. I don't have to, but it's nice that. It's an AUR package. Otherwise, I'd have to install the AUR during the DTOS installation. I didn't want to do that. So.
No, I discovered I don't need to build packages and host them on my repo, because there was a hidden gem in Calamaris, by the way, DT. It allows you via a script, a bash script, tell the Calamaris, like, it's called the shell process final, because it's true-rooted into the future user.
Right.
So you can tell it to run to build the package from the AUR instead of having to package it yourself and hosting it on your own repo. You just run the build command from the AUR during the installation of any distro.
The problem I ran into is some of my stuff was in the AUR and it was removed. So I was in a situation where I needed to maintain my own stuff. So there
are situations, but in general, it can be done via Calamaris, via script.
Yeah.
So
it's a hidden gem.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the same thing that happened to Linus with Pop! OS happens with the Arch distros with custom repos, just 1,000 times quicker and 1,000 times more likely.
Well, so far I haven't seen
basically he had a conflict of dependencies and simply deleted something that should be deleted because there was a conflict of dependencies.
Not
and that's a QA issue. And
that's a QA.
Because what they did was had a wrong version and wrong dependency, and it all came crashing down because Ubuntu updated their repositories and their package wasn't expecting that.
The other thing is you should never pipe anything into the yes command unless you know exactly what that command is doing.
Yeah, true.
So,
and also what happened with Linus is there was a line in the package that said this package replaces that package. There was a replaces put in by mistake. So I learned that the hard way.
Reading is one of the things that is dying in this world.
It's a lost art.
It's people know what letters mean.
Yeah.
They just don't know. They don't understand.
Well, when you put them together into words, that's what
They even know what those words are. They don't know how to understand them.
even today, people get upset at the Linux community because people will ask a support question and people will say, "Read the manual," right?
Please don't post
And they
links.
think that's rude. That's not rude. That's old school people. Literally, that's what we were taught. Go read the manual, and that's what we did. We went and read the dang manual.
This is what I was mentioning earlier. That you tell users, go read my guide that I spent 4 hours writing or a day writing, and I also created a video, if in case they don't want to read. I created a video for them to watch. It's 6 minutes, 36 minutes and 20 seconds. Too long of a video. Okay, read. The text is too long. Okay.
The other thing is, we wouldn't tell people to go read the manual if there wasn't manuals. Like the Arch Wiki, the Gentoo Wiki, they're massive and they have a ton of information. Man pages. Literally every program on your computer, almost, has a man page. Or some of them even have an info page as well. Some programs like Emacs, are self-documenting, meaning every bit of code that you program into Emacs self-documents itself. It tells you exactly what that variable's set to, what that function executes. It tells you where the source code for that function. Like, you can literally find anything you want if you just read the manual. What
irks me about man pages is that they never give you examples.
Yes.
Man pages are a worst user experience ever.
Well, what they should have done is they should have incorporated like a TLDR section. It's like, give me the short version and then give me that 12,000 line version, right?
I've been using Elixir.
Delete man pages.
I've been using Elixir for 5 months part-time, and their equivalent of the man page is perfect. It's well done. And they have at least 3 examples at the end, useful examples at the end of every command description on it.
No.
It can't be better. The other thing about repositories, I taught myself how to create a local repository in Elixir. So it's not that difficult. I couldn't find it in the mainstream, but a couple of blogs. You need some SSL and you need to start a server. And it's relatively straightforward to do. So I can create a module with a bunch of functions and go to the terminal, type the module name and tab, and there are all my functions listed, just like it would be with a regular repository. And that was really good. I was blown away by it.
What I started doing is, I realized the other day that I constantly have to search for the same things on the internet. Because there's certain commands I'll use, but I don't use them often enough that I remember all the flags and options. Like, I'll give you an example. Most of us probably know the flags and options for the tar command. But how many times have you had to Google that thing? Wouldn't it be nice if I just had a cheat sheet, in org or markdown or something? And, every flag and option that I typically use with grep said, tar, and unzip, things like that. So I don't have to go and look at the same post on Stack Overflow that I've viewed 100 times now.
I have a bookmark link how to untar a tar.gz file.
Yeah.
I just typed M space tar in the terminal, and I've got the cheat tar examples, half a page of that, help tar below that, half a page, and then the man page below that. So I've wrote a bash script and concatenated them all together, and I've got it. I've got about 4 pages, including examples.
All right. Jean-Michel's got to jump off. Thanks for hanging out with us, Jean.
Bye, everyone. Have a nice time.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy your family.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Color me weird. I actually learned how to use the tar command.
The tar command is one of those things. I got to the point where I think in Bash, ZSH, and Fish, and all 3 of my configs, I have like an extract function where, like, I just have every single archive format that I'll ever need to decompress. I just have it in one function.
I use way too little.
Yeah, you piped it in a function in the bash RC file.
Yeah, it's just a case statement.
Yeah, same.
I use the Crusader file management in KDE, and it has it built in. And you have the left pane and the right pane. You can highlight the left pane, and then you can You say unzip it or unpack it, and we'll pick the appropriate package manager and unpack it in the other window on it.
Yeah.
So I've never really learned the commands themselves.
Well, it was weird because when I switched from Windows to Linux, Windows, if you were using a open source kind of compression program, everybody used 7-zip, right? Then you get to Linux, nobody uses 7-zip. I mean, it's available, but they're doing all this tar GZ and XZ and
ZSTD.
Yeah, well now, Z compression. Yeah.
What I honestly, when I'm on a desktop, I will definitely use whatever compression manager there is on desktop. So I don't care about the command. Problem is, most of the commands I do with that are tart, I do on a server.
Yeah.
And then I have to learn.
Then you have to go and look at that Stack Overflow post one more time.
I have to, every so often, I have to untar a freaking Docker file, Docker image.
Like when you have a VPS, I out of habit, I started unzipping stuff using the command line out of habit because I use it on the VPS. But other than that, I would use like BigPod, whatever comes on the desktop. But out of habit, sometimes when I see myself updating in the terminal and I have to unzip something, instead of opening the one that comes with the desktop, I continue typing a command and unzip that way.
No.
Well, and I'm going to tell something else about packaging. Since I'm right now here, and that's all I think about the last couple of days.
I'm
People
sorry.
should stop using normal packaging methods for desktop applications. Use snaps, use Flatpak. Or if you're crazy like me, use Docker.
App image is really where you wanted to go.
You can go there as well. Honestly.
But Flatpak and snaps, I don't hate them. But app images.
Or go crazy, go Docker like me. But please use the containerized packaging method for.
I agree to a certain extent. It's good and bad. Its shortcomings are not as big as its upshots. Like for example, they don't mess with your system and all that. But the downside is just it doesn't follow the theme of your desktop.
Snaps do mess with your desktop. They install in the boot process regardless of whether you have a snap of your own installed or not.
Oh yeah,
right. And they change the mount. Mount loopbacks get screwed up as well.
Loopbacks, because they're file system based containers. Wow, scary.
Yeah. So
but the loopback thing, I know people love to complain about that, but literally you can give a flag.
Disable all loopbacks.
So you don't even view the loopback devices when you do your LSBOK.
Yeah.
So it's a
people who complain about that don't understand.
Yeah, just read. That's one of those things. Read the man page, and you'll quickly figure out that flag, and then you won't have all those hundreds of loopback devices. You'll just have your.
Stop saying read. Read. People have an allergy to that word.
Yeah.
Read.
But they should learn to read. And
yeah, exactly.
That horrific allergy because it is all in their head.
I just sent out a message earlier before the stream started. I just sent a message to the Telegram group telling the people that Zero Linux is all about the options, giving you the user the option, but it's not up to me to learn every single package I include in it for them. They request it. They say, I want this package for you to add this package to your repo. I just build it as is. I don't modify it. I just build it as is from the AUR, put it on my repository because he requested. I tell them, do not expect me to learn for you.
Right. If the maintainer of the AUR package, if you go to build it and it's broken,
I test it on my end.
Yeah, you don't have time to investigate that problem. I mean, you were using somebody else's broken package.
If it's broken,
really, they're using Arch Linux and they're requesting that you compile something, build something from the AUR for them. Unless it's something like a web browser, I probably wouldn't even bother doing it.
No, the whole thing about my repository is bare. It has only 20 packages, so I still have. I limited myself to 150. As soon as I reach 150, it's up to them to install from the AUR.
I mean, the only thing I really maintain are all my custom like config files, and then my sucklist builds. I think I packaged some fonts that take forever to build from the
Yeah,
AUR.
the nerd font.
Yeah, like the nerd fonts. It makes sense to create a binary for that. But most other stuff, it probably isn't worth it.
And there's one thing I forgot to thank you for, DT. You're the only person who reviewed my repo who showed the fact that my rices are optional, meaning that if they don't like the one that's included by default, they can
change it. Yeah,
change it. You're the only one who noticed that. Thank you for that.
It's something that most people wouldn't notice, as far as maybe something you want to fix in the future. Unless they read your website, they're not going to know that that's. And again, most people aren't going to read. Maybe in the slideshow in the Calamaris installer, maybe mention.
No, here's what I did for the summer release in the tool that you see once the install is done. I know you liked it. You mentioned that. I'm going to add a button called Rice Switcher.
Yeah.
There you go. You click it. It runs a bash script, and it's a select type of button. Like button 1 will install Layin, button 2 will install Dracul, and etc. etc.
Right.
So that way, I wrote the whole script myself. It took me a whole day, since I'm not a coder or developer or anything. I had to learn the syntax, created a whole script. Now they select whatever, and I even added something that I never thought I would, to revert back to KDE defaults. So they undo all the rising, and they do their own on top of the fresh, as if it was a vanilla KDE install.
Yeah,
that's an option because users don't want to rise a rice above a rice. You know what I mean? They want to start on a blank.
Yeah,
canvas.
they want to start with vanilla. Some people just like the vanilla option. I mean, most people don't change anything about the distribution they install. They keep the same theme, wallpaper, icons. They never change anything.
Exactly. So I'm giving them the option. They either can use it as vanilla or they can start on a blank canvas. Yeah. That's a choice, because rising an already riced system causes problems.
I mean, Big Pod knows this. I mean, how many Ubuntu users are still using that purple wallpaper? Most of them, right?
About everybody. And most of those that changed the sound that's already available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I liked it. It's cool somehow. It's at least
some of them are cool.
Design.
The hippo was cool because it was, well,
but
I'm not gonna go there. Big Pod knows about the hippo though.
but you see, this option was created because of your input on the video.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, it's I was thinking also because on the server everybody complains too long, the video is too long or the text is too long. Okay, I created a button. No need to explain. No need to do anything. The button is self-explanatory. Switch the rice.
Mm-hmm.
There are some public domain wallpapers out there. BOKEH. I don't know how you pronounce it, but there's quite a few. They're quite elegant and they're public domain.
Yeah, and on Arch,
don't change them because they don't want to need to, because they see their desktop about 0% of the time.
I mean, on Arch you have so many desktop wallpaper packs available.
Yeah,
I mean you can find them in the repos.
No background.
Well, you got the standard stuff, but even in the AUR you've got a lot of like I know the elementary wallpapers are in the Arch user repository. There's a bunch of stuff you could find that's freely available. So
I have a package that I didn't publish to the AUR yet. It's called It's called Nordic Wallpapers.
Mm-hmm.
Coming soon. Don't know when, but it's in progress. I need to collect at least 100 and something wallpapers, and I'm very picky. Very picky. People will tell you.
Honestly, what I do is I just leave the default.
Yeah, I by the way, the wallpaper you used when you did my Zero Linux review, the wallpaper you selected in the end of the video, that's the one I'm using right now.
Yeah.
You got me to like it.
Yeah, that was a cool wallpaper. Was it the
city?
The city, yeah. I like that. I like a lot of the weird, like abstract art kind of stuff, especially
It's synthwave. It's mostly synthwavy.
Yeah, because I've got a few wallpapers similar to that on my system, so similar to some of the stuff I use. So.
I created a KDE wallpapers that contains all these. That's part of the rice. I'm collecting. Once it's big enough, I'm going to put it on the AUR. I'm going to make 2 packages. But I don't feel good putting them on the AUR because those are not my wallpapers technically. Those are pulled from other places by artists. So I need to talk to those artists, see if I can publish them.
Yeah. The other thing is, especially high quality wallpapers, they're big images. Even if they give you permission, they can be big downloads. Yeah. So if you're going to do like 100 of them, that'll be a massive download time for some people.
350 over 300 megabytes. Yeah.
So that's the only thing you might want if you're going to distribute wallpapers. You might.
I'm going to convert them to JPEG. I'm going to convert them to JPEG.
Yeah, I would say find a way to install them that doesn't involve Pac-Man or the AUR.
I would. Yeah, that's something because large packages. Did you notice on the GitHub? When you're pulling packages from the GitHub, it tends to be much slower than grabbing them from Manjaro from their own servers, for example.
Of course.
If you're pulling from GitHub, although your connection is a gig down, it goes at like 300 kilobytes.
Yeah, but the Git servers are typically not the fastest.
It's not that Git servers are in the fastest.
They cause issues.
As far as
and it depends on which one you connect to. Yeah, it depends on
downloads.
Yeah.
On if you download artifacts.
Yeah, and it causes problems during the net installs, especially with custom distros like Arco and mine. When you select a lot of packages in Calamares, you're going to notice that it will fail at some point with error 1 because of the inconsistency of the connection from GitHub.
Yeah, that's because you're using Git, using a raw Git as a repository host. Sorry, don't do that.
No, we don't use raw. We use just GitHub.
Yeah, use GitHub. We in the back actually use a system called raw. They basically raw files, and that is actually throttled. Yeah. Bandwidth rate.
That's why.
Bandwidth rate.
They throttle it on their end. That's what you're saying.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. You can't control it. Yeah.
That's why. That's why I'm looking to host my own packages on my own server, on a server that I find. That's my.
They do that because bandwidth is freaking expensive.
Yeah, and the thousands of packages and millions of people.
And kind of like we talked about people fork things they shouldn't fork. There's a lot of people that do weird stuff on GitHub and GitLab. They put stuff on there that has no business being there. Like GitHub and GitLab are not like for cloud backup, right? That's not, it's for actual projects like code that is scripts people would actually want to run.
Basically, small files.
It's not to back up, like your LibreOffice documents or whatever the heck your movies, your PDFs and things like that. Like, people put stuff on there that has no business being there, and it sucks up a ton of bandwidth.
Even dot files have about no business doing there. If we're honest.
Yeah. Well, it depends because
if you make it private, it's okay.
Yeah, I would agree with. It's weird. I'm in a unique position because obviously people ask for my dot files all the time. But yeah, just most people will clone their entire config directory and put it on GitHub.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to find it because that's the only thing they clone. Most people are just using it just strictly to back up their dot files.
That's wasted space. Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree.
And that's an expensive shit.
But my dot files repository is not a waste of space because I am one of the biggest forked repositories on GitLab. My dot files repository. I'm one of the biggest on the entire platform.
That's not hard to achieve.
But I have
what? Oh, come on.
No.
We have a lot of GitLab users.
Well,
GitLab's got a lot of people.
I know. People on GitLab, and I still am not.
GitLab is not a small project, Big Bud.
Honestly, GitLab,
I know it's not Microsoft, but
GitLab as a version control system isn't why GitLab is popular in the actual world of programming.
Why is it popular?
Because the CI/CD system is the best. Without that, GitLab wouldn't be a thing.
They're more.
That's
obviously
where they shine.
And that's where they spend all their time, honestly, is on their paid services. Like, they spend no time on the free stuff. They really don't. I mean, I use it, all the free stuff, but I can tell that they're not putting a lot of effort into that, right? They're worried about their business clients.
With GitLab, there is no discoverability.
No, and they're even slower than GitHub when it comes for free. If you want to host your repo on GitLab, it's even slower than GitHub.
Of course, they don't want crazy stuff on there.
But how about like hosting your own Git server for like your personal?
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for right now.
Why host a Git server to host a repo?
Yeah, here's the thing.
Repo directly.
Because people have been asking me this forever. What I know you like GitLab. Why don't you just host your own GitLab server, or even try one of the other various?
No, just a plain Git, not a GitLab server. Just
even that.
Plain Git, plain Git.
Yeah, but there's so little to just plain like a vanilla Git server. Like you're gonna want a good issue tracker and things like that.
Yeah,
that people
it's hard to maintain. It's hard to maintain.
Right.
What I'm looking for is just plain storage. Like I put my my large repository with files that are larger than 100 megabytes on my own shared hosting. It's just a folder on my shared hosting, and I have
web server. All you need.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking because on my shared hosting they don't allow that. I'm cheating. If they catch me, I will have to delete it. But I'm looking for something like that. So if
I use Git as my Git server.
Amazon Web Service S3, Google, whatever the hell it is.
How much are they? How much are they? I don't know. I have no clue.
We're talking cents for gigabytes. DT can tell you he has his videos on S3 backed up.
I have a few terabytes of videos backed up on Amazon S3. I pay a few bucks, like single dollars a month to host, like right now, probably 4 or 5 terabytes of video. It's constantly growing because I upload,
but
a few every week.
How much traffic do they allow?
I handle.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to throw at it.
It depends on how much you want to pay because they charge you for the traffic.
And it is full speed. It is how much your internet holds because they have.
Yeah, but where they strike with the traffic. The traffic is expensive there. That's
it is. It is. They don't want people. Yeah, they'll store it for cheap.
Yeah.
But if people access that, they'll charge you for it.
By repositories, for example, people will access, and there will be a lot of access requests. So I need something
that's I believe million requests for a few cents.
Yeah. So DT, if you can send me something to check out.
Let me pull up.
Maybe Big Pie. The only thing I've ever done with S3 was storing video.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to be storing 800 megabytes of packages, not even a gig.
Well, in that case, then like a Linode VPS would probably work perfectly for you.
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Who's going to be accessing them? Just you or?
No, the users who use my distro.
Oh.
S3 standard per month pay for first 50 terabytes. It's $0.023 per gigabyte.
Oh, yeah.
And
you're not going to be dealing with that many gigabytes of transfer because if you're only doing with 800 megs of packages.
And where is the bandwidth?
There's even a free tier, I think, for that.
See, it's a little different for me because when somebody watches one of my videos, they're usually right. That's at least 500 megabytes probably. They're pulling just to watch a video.
For free tier, you get 5 gigabytes of S3 storage, standard storage class, 20,000 get requests, 2,000 puts, copies, and posts. So what you upload, and 100 gigabytes of data transfer out each month.
Oh, that's more than enough.
That's
it's free.
And data transfer speeds in are basically
fast.
free.
Yeah.
And data transfer out to internet is after that 100 gigabyte of free transfer out each month across all services. But after that, you pay 9 cents per gigabyte.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, they're not going to charge you
For
anything
first
for
10 terabytes is 9 cents per gigabyte.
Yeah, I can tell you for the storage cost, they're not going to charge you anything for 800 megs. I mean, maybe not even $1.
For
But the
800
transfer,
megs, I believe they will go and round it to either they go and round it to a gigabyte or they just don't care.
Yeah.
There are two options. I believe there is one, I don't remember which one, that don't care for the first gigabyte.
Yeah.
So, Bitpod, can you post the link in the chat so I can check it out?
Yeah, and while he's posting that, we're coming to the end of our 2 hours here, so we're going to get a last word from everybody. Somebody in the YouTube chat, Jack T, was asking, is it a bad idea to join the call now? Yeah, it would be, because we're about to shut it down. Yeah. Unfortunately, we had some issues with the stream here today. We had a lot of buffering, especially in the first 45 minutes. So I don't know how much of the first 45 minutes of our chat got recorded. I'll go back and listen to it later, and if it's just all messed up, I may just delete the video altogether once we're done. Just to prevent people from watching it, and then I get a million comments. Yeah. Why is it all garbage? Right? So, Big Pod, give us a last word.
Use containerized packages.
There you go. App images.
No. No. Use Flatpaks, snaps. Either one you want. Also, second thing, Firefox is now in Ubuntu not anymore a package. It's a snap only.
Yeah.
App images and Nyxt. Don't forget Nyxt.
No, Nyxt is same problem as every other. No matter how much you look at it, same problem.
And you could use Geeks.
If you're gonna use anything other than standard distros, use Fedora Silverblue. I don't like Fedora.
Oh my goodness!
But then at least go for Fedora Silverblue, which uses at the end of the day containerized packages.
I don't mean Nyxt OS. I mean Nyxt the package repository.
The package manager. Yeah,
yeah. You know that. It's painful. It's at least better than the standard packaging method, but it isn't as good as containerized. Sorry.
And then you have Nyxt, the operating system type.
Yeah. Well, thank you for hanging out with us, Big Pod. Ben, you jumped back in. I know you were compiling Gentoo, but do you have a last word for us?
No, I wasn't compiling Gentoo, dude. My last word is Gentoo and I are over and done with for effing ever.
You gonna break up with her right here on live stream?
Yes, apparently breaking up.
I finally hit my breaking point. I am no longer Mr. Gentoo for life.
We've never heard this before.
Well, honestly, I know I've probably said it a billion times, but seriously, this is my breaking point. Honest to God.
All right, man. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, and I will get around to taking a look at Storm OS. You would, shoot me an email the next time you put out an ISO and remind me about it.
I'll send you one today.
Oh, great. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
That way
Josh.
You can get around to it hopefully soon.
Yeah, I will. Josh, give us the last word.
Well, unlike Ben, I'm still going to use Gentoo because Gentoo on Raspberry Pi is an amazing experience, and I heavily recommend that at least you guys try it once because, you know, I'm currently up to 12 Raspberry Pis with the central build server, and my Pis boot in less than 3 seconds. Come on, guys. What's better than that?
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Murray, do you...
seconds. Very important.
My turn? Okay.
Yeah, Murray, please give us a better last word.
Okay, well, I can do that. No problem. A couple episodes, you asked, what was the definition of a monad? And I was watching...
yes.
I was watching the Elixir video, and it started talking about Haskell, and up popped the definition. I wasn't looking for it. So there in the middle of the screen is the single line defining a monad.
Yes. I know the line, but yeah, go ahead.
A monad is just a monoid in the category of endofunctors. Mm-hmm. So now you define monoid and endofunctor, and you get a monad is just a semigroup with an identity element in the category of a functor that maps a category to that same category.
I'm surprised you haven't heard about this meme because every time in any programming community somebody asks what's a monad, that one line. It's like the by the way I use Arch meme in a programming form. Like they always say, well, it's the endo functory a monoid.
Yeah, I hadn't heard it. But then you define semi-group and functor, and you get the final definition. A monad is just an algebraic structure consisting of a set together with an associated binding operation with an identity element in the category of a design pattern that allows for a generic type to apply a function inside without changing the structure of the generic type that maps a category to that same category. So that clears it up with the mud.
I'm going to post it to the YouTube chat so they understand what a monad is. So there's the meme.
You need to know that to program. Sorry. You already lost your developers.
If you're going to use Haskell, you need to know it.
Well, that's why Haskell is a good language.
All right. Anything else, Murray?
Yeah, this month I've got a new system. I put ZFS RAID 0 on it, which is striped, and it can concatenate two 128 gig drives together. It's supposed to be faster for random reads, but I don't know how to test it. All the utilities seem to work at the volume level. So my goal this month is to figure out how to see if the ZFS RAID 0 is faster on random reads.
All right. Thank you for hanging out with us, Murray. Solbu, you want to give us the last word, sir?
Yeah, so I can end with Gentoo, the only Gentoo experience that I have. I have never had it, but a friend of mine, I think he still uses it. Some 20 years ago, he and his wife got their first son. And I was visiting, and I had uploaded an audiobook to my website as a tarball that I wanted him to check out. And while we were in this process of doing that, the system just randomly shut down, and we couldn't figure out what happened. So we booted it back up, and we did some more work for another 5 or 10 minutes. When it again shut down, and then we noticed that his kid, which was sitting on his lap, was just in the reaching distance for the power button on the. So we ended up. We took that as a sign that maybe we should do something else now.
Yeah, the kid was getting a little too curious for his own good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's going to grow up to be
to his daddy.
He's going to grow up to be a Gentoo user.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Solbu.
He's taking that for me.
Stefan, give us the last word.
Well, thanks for the chat as usual. Really appreciate hanging out here with you guys, and thanks, Derek, for keeping on to create great content about our enthusiastic hobby that drives us to the edge of insanity from time to time, which we all really appreciate, and that is really nice. And hope you all have a good time.
Oh,
all right.
Good God.
He was taking shots at a lot of people there with that insanity comment. No.
Especially me.
Yep.
Well, I do count myself in too. Don't worry.
Oh God.
And let's get a last word from Zero Linux.
Well, my last word would be users. Learn to read. Learn to do your own research. We create for you. You learn how to use what we create for you. And if you request something to be added to the repository, you should know what you're requesting, not something you just request for request's sake.
I get merge requests all the time that don't even tell me what the hell the merge request does.
Exactly.
I don't even look at them. Like I refuse to even look at that thing at that point. Like if you.
Yeah, actually, I remember coming across a repo that sometimes got merge request that didn't it said nothing about what it was, and I think it was in a README file somewhere on the repo. He had a stated policy that merge request that did not say what it was automatically closed and rejected.
Yeah. I just have a bit of a comment on what Zero Linux said. Saying do your own research is in current times really dangerous.
It is.
It is really dangerous.
There are types of people who do their own research and they become flat earthers.
Know
Yeah,
your
they
sources.
become
There's
what we
another-
Americans call dumbfound.
Yeah.
Very
There's
true,
another
very
aspect to this, and that one of the ways to help users to learn about something is tell them to read the man file.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
The
Or go read
important,
the effing
yeah,
manual.
yeah,
That's
but,
my favorite.
yeah, but the important thing is that when they ask something and you have an idea of what kind of man file they should read, tell them what the man files to read. Because 20 years ago, I had the same problem. I was on a newbie, and I asked particular questions about how do I do this and that, and they said read the man file, and I was thinking to myself in my head, sure, if you tell me what effing man file you want me to read.
So that makes sense.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with us, Zero Linux. And we have A9. I don't know if that's an actual name or just anonymous.
Hello, I actually fixed my mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say. I actually bought subscription 30 minutes ago, and I decided to join. So.
Oh, cool.
Welcome.
Well, I highly recommend Anon to join during the actual recording next time, not when we're about to end.
Well, we're actually still recording, but yeah, we usually go for 2 hours.
We're actually about 6 minutes over on the recording right now.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, we talked a lot this time around, but yeah, we do these on the last Sunday of every month. I'll sit down with the patrons, and you can join us on camera here for 2 hours. You don't have to have a mic or a camera. Like if you want to speak, you can. If you don't, whatever. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Anything else?
No.
All
Thank
right.
you for accepting me.
Yeah. And we've got Urion. Also, I don't know if he's mic'd up. You have any last words for us? He may not be connected.
Well, it's all right.
Well, if he connects, he can get his last word here in a second. Let me get my last word. He says, nope, nothing. Okay. So let me get my last word in, which is thanking the YouTube chat. You guys hanging out in the chat were awesome. I also need to thank these guys that are hanging out with me on camera. These are the patrons that could be here on camera. Some were here earlier and dropped off. Thanks to all of those guys. Let me also thank these guys. I'm going to show you some names on the screen. These are all the patrons, including a lot of the ones that couldn't be here today. Appreciate each and every one of those, ladies and gentlemen.
A bigger crowd in the YouTube chat.
Other than that, wave bye to YouTube.
Good night,
Bye, everyone.
guys.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Sorry.